Here's the audience. Hi, my name's Travis Baxter, and I'm going to talk to you today about pitching. Have you ever watched a baseball game on TV and noticed how easy they make it look as a pitcher? Well, I'm going to try to answer that question for you today by showing you a few things. As a pitcher, it takes a lot of dedication and hard work to become a good enough player to be at that stage of the game. And first, today I'm going to talk to you about how the pitchers train throughout the season. And pitchers do their own kind of special training, different than any other position player on the team. They work out way different than them. Like during the pre and early season of the year, the other kind of players, they still work out like normal, do regular lifts, but pitchers use that as like a break time. Like they don't lift at all through the first 2 weeks of the season. They mainly just talk to the coaches and regain the knowledge that they had so they can begin to go through the mechanics and stuff that they had ending last season. And in season for pitchers, they can do all the same things as the other teammates, but they also do their own weird kind of lifts, and they do a lot lighter weight than the rest of the team because they want to keep from having a bunch of wear and tear on their bodies. So pitchers don't do a lot of heavy lifts or anything during the season. And then when the off season comes, they do. That's when they use that for their bulk period. Like they gain a lot of muscle during the off season and try not to. They don't worry as much about keeping their bodies in shape because they don't need to pitch on a regular basis like during the season. And that's basically it for training. Another big thing for pitchers, probably one of the biggest things, is the form and the mechanics that they have. They're real individual with pitchers. It's basically what works best for certain players. They all have the basics, but different guys use different methods to become how they pitch because everyone's different. And mainly at a younger age, that comes from one single coach, because most people that you talk to, they had a coach when they were younger that taught them the mechanics and the basics, and they never forget them because as a pitcher, you can never forget that stuff. It's something that's just drilled in your head and you always keep it inside. And they also do it by watching other players or peers around them. They can learn things off of them and try to gain more knowledge to help them out. Balance is another big thing as a pitcher. You want to have good balance. And balance is a big thing because they need a lot of balance to be a better pitcher, because if you have poor balance, you're never going to be as good as you could be if you had better balance. They use stuff like this as drills. They get in that point of their windup, and it's called the leg lift point of it, and they hold that for as long as they can, just to work on the balance that they need to hold that during the game. And just repetition and getting in the bullpen and throwing is another thing that they use a lot. They make sure they know what they need to with their mechanics, and they work on it over and over again until it's drilled and they drilled into their mind, and they just know what they need to do and they do it right. And pitchers usually get 1 or 2 good bullpens in between games during the season, just because it's bad for them not to do anything, because you need to stay loose and be ready to go during the game. You can't just go in there cold, and you're going to perform poorly if you do that. Probably the last thing I'm going to talk to you about is pitches and pitching grips, because this is also a different kind of thing for all different pitchers. They all do their own thing. First off, you got to learn the grips. They usually are shown what they are at a younger age, but they kind of use what works best for them. And they use coaches too. They show them what they need, and they kind of just start throwing with them or just playing catch with them, just so they can get used to the grip and work well with them. Most pitchers start out with just a basic fastball and a changeup, just because it's 2 pitches that are really easy to use. And the changeup is basically just holding the ball in your palm, which will slow it down and make it slower to batters, which will keep them guessing and off balance, so it'll help you out in the end. And finding your most effective pitches obviously would work best for you during the games. They do a lot of things to make sure, like using during like batting practice or practices with your teammates, that's a good way to see which ones work best for you, because you can actually see it off of an actual hitter and see which pitches they don't react to as well and they can't hit as well. And velocity is probably one of the big things, but the most important thing for a pitcher is probably location, because if they can throw a pitch wherever they want to and right where they know the batter can't hit well, you're going to have more success with that just by trying to blow it past them, as throwing as hard as they can. And yeah, that's basically it for the grips. So in conclusion, there are many things that a pitcher needs to do to be skilled and a good player at that point in their career, but it's basically dependent on the player themselves. Like, it's all about your head in baseball, and if you want to be better, you have to tell yourself that you can get better, and that's what keeps those pitchers going up through the ranks and becoming as good as they are, because they don't give up and they keep trying. And I hope you understand these different things, like the training methods, improving their form and mechanics, and also the different grips and stuff to help them pitch better. And this information can help anyone understand pitchers, like, so when they watch them in a game, like if you see it on TV, you actually appreciate all that they went through rather than just saying that looks easy, because there's a lot more to it. And I didn't even cover it all, but there's actually a lot more to baseball pitching than that. And yeah, thank you.